Hello.
Hi guys.
Hey folks, good afternoon and morning.
Hi, Steve. Hello.
Sorry, trying to get myself organized and get on the right tab out of too many. Get sharing. So we've had apologies from Aurelian. Obviously, Tao Fupan will be on Spring Festival at the moment, so I guess Svonko will probably join us, but otherwise I think we're reasonably at capacity, even if we're a bit down on normal numbers. So I guess we can get going, and apologies I didn't copy across the review of previous actions. Let me do that now. That was done. So I guess, Greg, the deprecation process PR is probably still carried forward.
Yeah, unfortunately, still swamped with other stuff.
Yep. No worries. And the non-T tests, we had some more instability, so I don't think we're ready to make them required either. So I can just have a very quick check of what the issues were, if it's infrastructure or actually test problems. It's the issue is sorry, that was I think it was the C groups bump that went in on Friday and took out quite a lot of things. So yeah, that's it. That explains why those ones failed. Okay, cool. Right, so I guess Idco first Yeah, I don't know if you want to share or you want me to share the slides.
It's okay if you have it on the screen. I mean, um, anyone can click on the link and follow it there. So long story short, I have a 30-minute presentation at Opening for Days North America, beginning of March. And since unfortunately I am not an active developer and I'm not an active user of Kata, I need a little bit of help from the community to put together a meaningful and valuable presentation for the audience. And I thought that I would go to the onboarding slide deck as a starting block because I proposed a beginner level talk. And the slides seem to be fairly outdated. So I need your help to figure out what information to keep, what information to update, and what things to just toss and replace with something new.
Mhm.
I mean, I can look at the logos and things, but are the highlights still accurate? The evolution part is done, like, yeah, it ends in 2020. So we can like what to put there. Yeah. Are these the type of information that you still want to display? Is the how it works still fully accurate? Are there any ways to update any of these diagrams? It's hard for me personally to tell because some of these go into enough details that's like go, no go, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, a quick scan. It looks like there's not necessarily a lot of wrong information, but like you say, it is a little bit out of date. Do you know where the source of this PDF is?
Um, I will double check it with our design team. I might have a source of it. Um, I don't know what's the best way to collaborate on
Mm,
slides. So if anyone has comments or if, I don't know, we want to have a Slack chat session or something, I don't know. But I'm happy to take it on to get the deck updated. Um, because I'm not sure if we can work collaboratively on the source
mm.
because it's not a file that is, I'm not sure if there's a file format for slides like this one to put in Git
Yep.
and not be a binary for Git to just like, hey, here's this thing and I don't know what's the diff. So in that sense, I don't want to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Um, but I should have access to the source.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know these slides, which I guess there was more talk about, aren't very self-explanatory on their own.
Mm.
It looks like they just direct to the main website. So I guess that I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much value they are just there if you don't quite know what to talk about. But I think obviously we've got some updates like with Runtime RS, Dragon Ball, and etc. I feel like it's probably would be worth talking about Cocoa support and updating the timeline. Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. I guess you probably have got as good a
That I
handle
can pull. Yes,
on these. Yeah.
I need more help on the technical side.
Mhm.
And if there's any particular use case that you would prefer to display over some of the other ones. So priority on those and these more kind of details on like is the Kubernetes multi-tenancy stuff displayed in a way how it's still accurate, or do you have a better way to put it on a diagram? Or like these talking points on that slide, is that still, the way how you all feel describes Kata in the security context the
Mhm.
best. At least some feedback in terms of it still looks good. Apologies for the boiling water in the background. I just got up. Eat some tea. So yeah, so some of these slides I can update myself, but some of the like more the technical, the diagrams, I need some help with that. Just like how the, you know, the website, we replaced one diagram with another one because it turns out that that one is the newer one, but I I have a hard time telling which one is the newer one. So
Mhm.
I need that kind of help. If someone could volunteer, or a few of you who has a good oversight on these things.
Yeah, and I think use cases is a good one, and he's not here, so but I know Zvonko's talked about a few different use cases and what was popular at
Okay.
discussion at KubeCon and stuff. I think he said he would have a help with a blog or something. So we talked about CI/CD pipelines,
Yeah.
uh, AI workloads. Obviously, we've got kind of the Cocoa side of things. So I think that would be a good,
Mhm.
even if we just have a slide which says some use case patterns and you just have a bullet point for each, then you can at least talk a few sentences about them.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I feel like that's probably might be more interesting to some. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the audience is, but I feel like use cases might be more interesting than, say, the four opens, because you'd have thought most people at Open Infra would know about them. So that could be something that you could gloss over some of the governance
Yeah.
bits.
I mean, the event is co-located with Scale, so I don't know how much the audience will be mixed in terms of opening for minded people versus people who are completely new. So I can grasp that when I start the presentation. For the purpose of the onboarding slide deck itself, I will leave this in.
Yep.
And yeah, yeah. Just, I don't know if we want, I think I will remove, for example, the names from
Mhm.
the architecture committee slide, because then we have to update this every 6 months.
Yep.
Which I could volunteer to do if you all feel that it's important to have names in the slides. But when it comes to these slides, I think it's better if we focus more on the concepts that are good information and up-to-date information for longer. So shooting for something that's more maintainable and less finicky, probably a better idea, but I'm open to feedback on that.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense to keep the names, but maybe that we try to have not all people from the same company, for example, in the AC.
Mm-hmm.
Try to have some balance.
Mm-hmm.
For example, that's why Weiner decided to not apply last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we can put something on there about diversity and updating the number of the AC members and those kind of things. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the architecture committee might be slightly less variable than the companies, than specific people. But yeah, I don't know if it's important, or you just say architecture committee. You could almost say it historically includes the following, some examples in the following companies. But I guess this bit's the more interesting section.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, and I guess just trying to get this timeline updated, which is
Yeah, I mean, I can obviously put 3.0 there. But with the minor releases, we like there's literally no space, even if we have like 2 slides on background and history to put everything there. And one thing that I experimented with trying to like type up a blog post for the minor release, but I kind of realized that based on the release notes, if I'm not the person who's actively using particular features or developing them, I have no way of having the ability to put them into context. So it's really hard for me, unfortunately, to utilize that information because it's low level enough. It goes deep into the details that it's not always easy to figure out what it is actually used for in an actual use case. So in that sense, to me, it's hard to fish out what might be relevant and important information enough to put it on a slide like this. So
Yeah, I would have thought almost that sort of thing. The monthly release is always going to be a challenge because there might not be any big features in some months. So I guess I don't know if we could do something at a more of a VPTG cadence. So every 6 months we start the VPTG with a let's reflect what has gone in and been released in the last 6 months type activity, and that could go into the blog which you give about VPTG, which could then form some of the content for like if we want to have a project timeline. I mean, obviously that doesn't necessarily help going back retrospectively, but I don't know if that would be more of a if you're a less frequent user, not super involved in the community, then probably 6 monthly updates on what goes on would be might be more interesting and more consumable than a here's you've not looked for a week for a year, so here's 12 blog posts to see what's happened.
that would be very helpful to me. I really like that idea. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, it's a cadence to experiment with, and then if we need like quarterly, then we can try to figure this out quarterly. But yeah, I see the point in terms of not every minor release is something that is easy to talk about because might be some um smaller tweaks that went in at that particular time. But if there's a way to keep people posted in terms of more contextual information, that would be great. And it's also helpful if like there's either me or anyone else who's involved but not like writing code on the daily to talk about the project as well. So that would be really good. I'm happy to add that to the PTG Etherpad as a topic idea. Okay, I will start working on a new version of this because it just needs to be updated whether or not I have a presentation to give about the project. I will bug Zvonko for some use case ideas. And would it work if I created an Etherpad where people can put things like, I think this feature should be mentioned, or I think like on the additional security slide, these terms should be replaced with those ones. So kind of a collaborative document where people can give feedback about like, let's update this diagram, let's, throw that one out, let's keep this one because it's still accurate. So, we could try that approach, and then I can incorporate the feedback into the source of the slides wherever they are. I'll look it up. And then I can share with you all the updated version, and then maybe one more round of feedback, and then it can go up to the website.
Yeah, I don't have a better suggestion, so I think that's a good approach.
Okay, cool. I'll do that, and I will circulate that on Slack.
Mhm.
And per curiosity, Liko, do you know what's the source for this document?
Uh, I think I only have a PDF. but I will double check. I was looking for the source at one point, I remember, but I think I had some challenges with it, but I will dig into it.
Okay, I was asking just in case if it's something we can directly use in a collaborative tool to avoid the need to go through the Etherpad, but otherwise Etherpad is a good way.
Um, if it's in Google Slides by any chance, I will share that with people. If not, then putting it into Google Slides and then getting it out of Google Slides and keeping the format and things, that's hideous work. So
No
I
problem.
might opt out of doing that, and apologies in advance. But if by any chance it is in Google Slides, sometimes they are, often not, but sometimes they are, then that's something that I can, yeah, I can share with the community. So yeah, the website will have a PDF document just because I had bad experiences previously with other file formats. You download them to the laptop and the font didn't match and something else didn't match, and the whole thing is just like totally displayed in a weird way, and colors are not matching sometimes. So PDF seems to be the most stable. It's not perfect either, but it's the most stable file format that um I worked with. So for the website itself, I think it's best to keep the PDF there. But if I can find the slides in Google Slide format or some other collaborative format, I'll share with y'all.
Cool, thanks.
So, guys, when I was trying to create a presentation for an event last year, I think I was looking for a template, if there was some kind of template, and I did find a repo. I can look it up and I can share it in the Slack channel maybe, where there were a couple of presentations, but not with this format, not with this theme. It was a more orangey theme.
Okay.
So I can share it. Maybe one of the presentations is the is the one that we're talking about, because they were quite dated.
Okay. I mean, yeah, share what you found if you still have them, and then we will work it out to have one updated slide deck that the community is happy with and you all feel like it describes and pictures Kata in a way that you all would like it to, and gives the impression that you all want people to have about Kata, because the onboarding deck is meant to be for people who are new to the project. So it is supposed to give like an overview of the project and the highlights that a newcomer uh should know. So all the things that you want people to know about the project.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's something we want to have and keep updated. So anyway, so it's yeah, just some useful collateral to have.
Yeah, I mean, once we have an updated version, we could add that to the VPTG agenda as well.
Mm.
Either every event or every other event, so we review the slides at least once a year, but probably twice will not hurt either. And hopefully that will make it easy to keep it up to date. Like if we go through what went into the project, like that kind of retrospective information, I think from there, looking at the slide deck briefly and say that, yeah, this still looks good. Let's replace this use case with that one and then move on with our lives. That doesn't sound like a huge overhead overall. Okay, it sounds like we have a plan. So I'll look for the source, and I will probably create an Etherpad in either case, just in case someone just wants to drop some information there because it's easier than throwing it into slides. So don't need to bother with formatting and everything. And I'll add these items to the PTG Etherpad. Happy to move over to that topic unless people have other questions or comments to the slides.
Yeah, I think we can do that review offline. So
Yeah, I didn't mean to hijack the entire call to do slide
no.
review. I just wanted
Yeah, no
to
worries.
give the pointer so everyone can look at it offline. Okay, so the next agenda item is the virtual PTG, which will happen between April 7th and 11th. So it's in what, 2 months now, which is crazy. Well, 2 months and a week. Frightening information for me. I created the Etherpad with the usual structure, and the big question, well, two big question marks. One, does the community want to participate again? Two, what time slots should we aim for this time around? So these are the two big decision points, or decisions that we need to make. And other than that, if the community decides to participate again, I hope you all will, then we can work on the proposed discussion topics and then building out an agenda as we get closer to the event.
Yeah, I think my default would be we do want to participate. Time slots is a good question. I can't remember if we did a debrief after October where we decided rather than have one like really long 5 hour block, I think we had like 2 hours on the Monday, 2 hours on the Tuesday, and an hour on this call on the Thursday, which I think went quite well. I think I was less exhausted after it. I don't know if that's the only good measure, but I yeah, I
I
think I'd be
personally liked
happy to
it
do it
better
again.
too. I'm happy to. I'll try to put together like a little blurb on Slack and try to ask if people still remember if like which one was a better experience. Um, and we can try to use that to decide. But I personally liked the smaller blocks better. It seemed easier to follow, and it gives people in APAC a better chance to participate in more discussions, just because like those shorter blocks are still in the somewhat doable time slot range, but for a 5 hour block for the second half, that's just cruel to expect anyone in Asia Pacific to stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that a big block only makes sense if everyone is in the same time zone or in the same place. So in the same time zone, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Thursday is still correct. I know you did a Slack poll last time, and there was not overwhelming numbers of responses. So,
Yeah.
but I guess we could poll it in case things have changed. I think it's the reality is if you do it in smaller blocks, it's gonna clash with more other meetings people have. But my view is it's kind of for a one, or not quite a one-off, but a twice yearly event, then having to rearrange or miss some regular meetings is not the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think the event time blocks are in UTC. I don't know how that lines up with the daylight savings times. But some meetings that people have, maybe one event clashes, the other one doesn't. So
Yeah, that's true. I guess we'll be in daylight savings, so we might have an hour. Yeah, it'll be slightly different. Like this time slot would be an hour later for those of us in Europe and most people in the US. So
yeah.
by then, which might make it easier for people in APAC to. I think we've got a better overlap then. But
So they I think most APAC regions don't follow daylight savings.
yeah, exactly. So I
China
think
and
we'll
Japan.
get close. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get closer to them,
yeah.
which is good.
Okay, I'm happy to um copy the poll we had last time just to see what people say, and then, if it's like a small number of people who votes, or it's just the numbers are not helping, then we can stick with what we did last time, or if the poll tells differently, then at least we know, and then
Yep.
we can go accordingly.
Yep, that sounds good.
Cool. Okay, then I'll sign up the community to participate, and then we will work on figuring out the details from there.
Great, thank you. And yeah, and obviously if people have ideas for topics, then feel free to start adding them in this section.
Oh yeah, rather than feel free, feel encouraged to throw ideas in. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. That was all that I wanted to give reminders about and ask for help with.
Cool, thanks. So next topic was from me, which is I guess more of a heads up for downstream, I guess, is we had a similar conversation in June-ish sort of time when last time the guest components guys required some crates that were newer and caused us to bump Rust versions. And that time has come around again. So as of a few weeks ago, the guest components team, they don't build the image RS does not build, or any of the guest components does not build on Rust lower than 1.80. They are still carrying their policy of kind of testing against the almost the latest one, but I don't think you need 1.84. But yeah, 1.80 is required, and we want to do some bumps to fix some issues. I'm not sure we talked about on this call, but we have some issues with TTRPC crate that with the 6.10.9, I think it was, kernel, sorry, 6.12.9 kernel broke things. So there is a reasonably strong encouragement to pick up a later version of that. I've started the fun task of bumping the Rust crates, bumping the Rust version and trying to fix all of the many errors that we've got. There's still some features errors, so if we've got any Rust experts, feel free to take a look at the PR and see if you can help as a plug. But otherwise, it was just to let people know. I know last time we had some discussions about like the Rust version that Rel had was a bit back level, so needed to sync up. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that to the community, which I've already I've already mentioned to the OSC team anyway.
Yeah, we're currently at 1.79.
Yeah.
Rel, but I saw that CentOS is already at 1.83 or maybe more. I don't remember exactly. So
Yeah, I think 84 only released like
84, yeah.
last week, maybe. So they might well be 83. So,
but we can expect a bump maybe at some point.
cool. So yeah, so that's just, I guess, going back to when we discussed it last time, one of the many things we said we'd do, we talked about having a policy for bumping. We didn't get particularly far on that. So if anyone's got any other suggestions, it looks like it was just myself and Beraldo that talked about it. But yeah, that might help with this. So rather than at the moment, I guess our policy is we bump when we're broken and we're forced to buy another dependency. But I think potentially moving up levels more regularly helps. Like Rust 180 is 6 months old now, so it's not bleeding edge. We're not trying to drag everybody up to date, kicking and screaming. And as Nick's commented, there's potentially some issues with much newer versions. But yeah, the other thing, as Wonko mentioned, is there's, and I can't actually remember the details, but he mentioned a reason around cargo audit, checking that going up to 181 would be better. So I suggested we go up to 180 that we have to do, and then we look at 181 afterwards. But so that might happen following on. I guess I'll put a note. Yeah, I think that's everything. It's just more of a heads up that it's probably going to have to happen sooner rather than later, and making it happen is a different question. Any other thoughts or comments on Rust versions? I guess the
I like
same
the idea
argument.
of bumping to a version that is 6 months old so that it's stable enough.
Yep.
But yeah, bumping to latest is a no-go.
Yeah. I guess I think we're on 1.75 at the moment, which I guess is more than, I can't do the math, sorry, I've got, okay, so yeah, so I guess that's whatever, 5 times 5, 25 weeks, so about a year old. Now, I guess we've got a similar thing around Go. Go is on the 122 stream is on 11 now. So that would probably be a good idea to consider bumping as well. Right. So next topic, Greg, to talk about the vulnerability process.
Yeah. So yeah, I knew we had a vulnerability process as documented in the link vmt.md. But yeah, didn't pay much attention to it until yesterday, where I received an email from a reporter who created vulnerability report in Launchpad like 7 months ago, and was surprised to not have an answer. or yeah, a notification that we were aware of the bug. And so yeah, it turns out that, well, nobody received the email or didn't care, I don't know. So I had to dig a bit to be able to see the bug report, because you need to belong to a group on Launchpad to be able to see that and to receive notifications as well. So obviously this is not working anymore. Mostly because the people listed on Launchpad either no longer work on the project. Well, no longer work on the project, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, we said two situations. First situation is to try to understand what's happening with the Launchpad put here. So yeah, nobody will be able to see it except maybe Steve and I. Basically, it's a regression of something that was fixed in the Kata Containers 1 dot something era. And so recent commit in the agent code removed the fixed, and so the reporter was wondering if it meant that the issue was back. So started looking. Since we're getting away from cgroup v1, might be that maybe our current head is not impacted, but I still need to dig some more to see if something equivalent can happen with cgroup v2. And then the other problem is that so we need to revive the process. So as it works today, there's a VMT, Vulnerability Management Team, which is not AC. It's a separate group of people. Even if AC is also involved, because basically VMT will receive the report for the vulnerability, think about fix, and then is expected to share with the AC to take a decision. But so we need some people to be part of the VMT. That is, people who agree that they will monitor anything coming from Launchpad about vulnerability and do the appropriate steps, like not sharing the details if there's an embargo period, and quickly start looking for a bug, not wait. I think it's pretty much well explained in the process. So yeah, we need volunteers. So I would say now we have two de facto volunteers, Steve and I, for today to process the bug we just received. But then should maybe decide either to have a rota or decide on people at the same pace we renew AC. We could maybe renew people in the VMT or something else. There was also a suggestion from Zvonko yesterday on Slack that GitHub seems to provide some processes for that we could maybe use, that would involve likely maintainers at a GitHub level. So, well, all these things to be discussed and to decide on something that will stick to and don't drop the ball. Because yeah, 5 months with no response on a security issue is really not doing good publicity for the project. And let me try to find what Zvonko shared
That
yesterday.
was this one, I think, Greg, that I'm showing.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, exactly. This one. So yeah,
I guess there's still the same question, is that we need to, well, I guess this comes back to a topic we've talked about. I've banged drum quite a lot about the owners and admins of our repos, getting them right, and is probably not a coincidence that we said the owners and admins are outdated and not people who aren't active in the project, and the people who are on the VMT are strongly overlapped with those people as well. So, but I guess if we did update GitHub, we could potentially manage them in the same place. Obviously, there is a security particular permissions, but normally under my proposal, the AC would have admin access. So I guess that would mean under this, the AC would effectively also be part of the VMT, just because they would have access to see it. But it doesn't mean we couldn't invite other people if we wanted. But
I think the interest of having a VMT, even if yeah, I agree that AC have power to do pretty much anything, but the dedicated VMT folks would be more responsible to maybe actively track the, like for example, as an AC member, maybe I might skip a mail from Launchpad because I get too many emails, but I would expect someone in the VMT not AC to really make sure that they receive the mail and be sure that something is happening next.
I'm personally in favor of having a vulnerability management team dedicated who is not the AC, even if the AC does have access to those bugs. But I think having a dedicated team then that is a group with that single responsibility of staying on top of the security bugs, which is super important. The AC has other responsibilities, and if there is overlap between the two groups, that's totally fine. But if we don't have a separate VMT team, then that responsibility gets blurry in terms of like the AC is what, 7 people right now? Like who of the 7 people will look at the next security bug, and everyone thinks the other one in the group does look at it, and then no one looks at it for 6 months. And that's not great. So having a team with that single responsibility, I think would be great. And that is also an opportunity for people to step up into taking some kind of a responsibility within the community, even though if they are not interested in running for an AC spot at this point or didn't make it to the AC, this is still a way to step up and be responsible for something important in the community that can lead to a leadership role later if that is what the person desires. So that can be a good avenue for that as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I guess obviously Svonko's not here, but we might want to look into if the GitHub process is a bit more integrated and notifications automatically happen and stuff like that, then it might be useful to consider whether that's a better process than Launchpad, because obviously it's just another tool you need to have IDs for and log into, and so if we can centralize it, that might make sense. I'm guessing, well, I think it says somewhere, yeah, it looks like our process is probably a bit of a copy paste from the OpenStack process, but I don't know if they've potentially moved on the reporting or not. But I think if a more streamlined process works better for us, it might be worth considering. And if nothing else, if you see the security tab and more regularly, I think we spend a lot more time in GitHub than we do in Launchpad, so might be worth considering. But I think that's probably a separate question from who goes on the VMT. I think we maybe should decide that and then work out if we want to update the process.
I think if GitHub provides everything that is required for the embargo period and all those things, then having everything in one place is probably easier for people to report those security bugs as well, so that they don't have to go to Launchpad either, because everything else for Kata is on GitHub, so they will be on GitHub already. So I think it's a bigger likelihood that someone will report a security bug if they can do that at the same place where everything else is. So I like that idea of digging deeper into that. And I think the OpenStack vulnerability management process is mostly about the process and a little bit less tied to the tools. So I would imagine that updating the process with the tooling information will be easy enough. But let me know if it's not, and I can help with anything on that regard.
Yeah. So I guess we probably come down to the question. Oh, sorry. I raised earlier about deciding who goes on the team. I guess linking it to VPTG or AC election cycles, which are both close together, probably makes sense. I don't know if at the moment we just want to co-opt a subset of the AC and maybe in the nicest way kick out the people who are currently on it and did not respond to the vulnerability being raised, as assuming they're not active, and then say that going forward we will aim to have a separate VMT. But I don't know if, yeah, I guess Ildiko, do you know how any of the other open infra teams do it? Do they have an election period, or do people self-nominate? I guess you, without trying to be too
I will check it. I will check it with the folks in the OpenStack team. I'm not 100% sure. From what I heard, um, unofficially speaking, they are having challenges sometimes finding volunteers as well for the team. But I will double check if they have any formal process in terms of making sure that there are people who are active in the VMT.
Yeah, because I guess the other thing, not that I'm suggesting that anyone in the community is a bad actor, but we obviously don't want to just put anyone on the vulnerability management team. So having some good standing in the community, I guess, or a link makes sense rather than anybody could decide they wanted to go. So we need some sort of guards around it. And as I think our process says, we want to keep it relatively small. We don't want to say, oh, anyone who wants to, will give you access to all the potentially sensitive data. But
Yeah, I would strongly advise against that.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it usually works the other way around, that someone who received a vulnerability report and they're not supposed to find the fix. They're just supposed to make the fix happen. So as when I was maintaining 9P in QEMU, I got notified by the QEMU's security team many times, and I had to work on a fix under embargo. So I worked privately with the security team, and yeah, and then send my fix when it was ready. So yeah, being part of the VMT just means that you will find the good people that can fix the bug.
so I guess in the immediate action, if we can, yeah, Ildiko, if you could talk to other open infra. I guess, Greg, I don't know if it's controversial to say we just kick out the people who are currently in the VMT. There's certainly people who are not involved who I think are a no-brainer, but yeah, I don't know if we need to ask them first. I kind of maybe unfairly think that by sitting on the bug for 4 months, they've probably volunteered themselves to be relieved of duty or have accepted that they're not interested, but maybe some who we know are active in the project we could check, and maybe the email didn't come through or something like that. So, but yeah,
So
like there's people like I think Feng is in the list and obviously had to leave the community when he changed roles. I guess it was 18 months ago, something like that, or 16 months ago. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to keep
yeah,
people on. I think that's another one that needs a regular refresh and review.
yeah. So yeah, I don't have strong feelings whether we should ask or decide. I just know that Fabiano explicitly asked to stay in the VMT.
Yeah. I don't know who has oversight on making the call to kick people off or not. I don't know if that's under the AC's remit or if for kind of separation of concerns that should be someone else. Like Ildiko, I don't know if you know, like one of the people on there is Thierry, for instance. So if Open Infra want a rep on it, that's kind of fine, but it would be nice if they were somebody who's more active and would forward and chase things up. So maybe Ildiko yourself as the community manager might make more sense. But
Okay. Yeah, I know that we have opening for people on the VMT team for OpenStack. I think Jeremy is part of the VMT team. I will talk to him in terms of how things work with OpenStack. I don't know how much he himself is involved in fixing anything.
Mhm.
because as part of our infrastructure team, him and Clark are more embedded into how the software parts work. So he might do some more technical work as well. But I will sync up with him. He will know how they are recruiting new people as well. And then I'll check with him in terms of how his role is structured within the VMT team, and then I can see what my abilities are and how I can be valuable for the team. So yeah, I'll check all that. Can you add an action item about that too?
Yeah.
Because then I will go back to the Etherpad and just make sure that I do everything, because I think I collected quite a few action items for myself today.
So it was Jeremy.
Yeah, it is Jeremy for OpenStack. I'll talk to him, but yeah, he's doing VMT for OpenStack, and I know that sometimes he mentions that this is something that is a challenge in that community as well, in terms of finding the active people who have the bandwidth to navigate the vulnerability management process. But with things like the Cyber Resilience Act in Europe
Mhm.
kicking in and those kind of things, I think it's even more visible. It's just as important as it was in the past, but it's even more visible for the world now that, you know, open source communities should deal with security stuff properly. So it's probably a good time to make sure that our process is set up in a way that people are able to follow actively.
Cool. And I've just realised we are at time, so yeah, we should revisit this next week and make sure we are making progress forward on it. But yeah, otherwise, apologies for running a little bit late, and I'll speak to you later. Thanks for joining, folks.
Yeah, thanks.
See you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you guys. Bye bye.